Hey guys, Falafel92, and today on Freaky Friday, we will be discussing Stephen King, all of the books I own and all the movies I own from him. So remember to like and subscribe, and let's get into the video. And we're just going to review everything that you see here, and that's anything else I'm not going to be discussing, so that's how it goes. Shawshank Redemption is an A-tier movie. I thought it was pretty cool. My one thing is that I'm not a big prison drama guy, so there's that. Storm of the Century is a S tier miniseries. The only thing holding it back is that it's 4 hours and 15 minutes too long, but this is what you get when you're dealing with Stephen King. So, and speaking of the It miniseries, I feel like it's a D tier miniseries, not because it's a bad, but because the book is about 1,100 pages, and where it feels the miniseries makes it feel like it's half that. So there's very little context or elaboration for that. So yeah. And now we get into the books. Lizzie's story, the first time that I made this type of video, I would have said it was an F tier. It was terrible. Now it's a D tier. It's not bad. It's still pretty bad, but I just couldn't care less. It's not nearly as bad as what I made it out to be. Carrie is a B tier. It's not a bad book, but I just don't have any desire to rank it higher. Dolores Claiborne, I thought was like maybe high D tier, low C tier. It wasn't a bad book, but it was very hard for me to rank it any even more harder than Carrie to rank it higher than that. Misery is definitely high A tier, maybe low S tier. I think it was a fantastic book, especially after watching the movie. Everything's Eventual had stuff like 1408, which I thought was pretty good. So that's why I'm gonna put it in probably A tier. So yeah. Now, Dreamcatcher, like Lizzie, I'm putting in D tier. I originally had it in F tier. It's not nearly as bad as what I made it out to be last time. Colorado Kid in my previous rankings said it was a C tier, still unchanged. I thought it would be cool to rate it since I watched the Haven TV show, and I didn't care about the book after I finished it, and I told myself the same thing after I reread it. So yeah, The Green Mile I thought was an S tier novel. Again, not a prison drama guy, but I enjoyed it. Firestar, I think I had it somewhere around D tier. I think it's probably C tier now. It's not a bad book, but that's just me. Full Dark No Stars is still an S tier book. If it weren't for the 1922 short story, it would be probably an A, maybe B tier. But yeah. The Dark Tower book 7 is probably like B tier. I think the one thing holding me back is I didn't read Dark Tower books 2 through 6, and also the Key Through the Windhole, or, that kind of holds it back a lot. Nightmares and Dreamscapes is an A tier. It's just a pretty solid book overall. The Stand is definitely my S tier. I absolutely enjoyed it. It's one of, I think the only thing holding it back is how long it is, but other than that, solid. Nevil Things, I thought was a pretty alright book. It's in B tier. I think the ending, it's like, I just didn't really care. But other than that, it's a pretty solid book. The Gunslinger, Dark Tower Book 1, I thought was an S tier book. It's pretty cool. I kind of just wish I got into a bit more. Revival is also an S tier. Stephen King usually doesn't drift off from horror or fantasy too much, but I can say that Revival is one of his best books, and easily one of his best new books. End of Watch, I thought was a A tier book. It wasn't special. I just wish I had read. I own 2/3 of the trilogy that it's in. I just wish I had the first one. But yeah, otherwise it was a good book. Pet Cemetery, I originally had it at like maybe B tier. It's a C tier now. It's not bad, but I wouldn't call it that good either. The Shining, I originally had it at S tier. I now say it's an A tier. It's not. It's still one of his top books, but yeah. Cujo, I would have said was at maybe like A tier, but now I put it at C tier. It's just It's not a bad book, but I struggle to enjoy it. Now, it is also S tier. It's pretty much the same as The Stand. The only thing wrong with it is the length, but other than that, not much you can do. Dumaki, I had it at D tier. I just thought it was It was like pretty low average for me. I didn't care for it. It's a huge turnoff. Finders Keepers, I thought was also a great book. I just wish I had the, other book in the trilogy that it's in. But other than that, it's a solid book. It's probably B tier. Bag of Bones, I thought was actually an A tier. I didn't think it was. I thought it was a pretty solid book, and so I enjoyed it. Insomnia, I thought was also definitely a like A tier. I just by the time that I closed the book, I'm just like, eh. It wasn't a bad book, but the ending kind of just left me kind of. It's like Needful Things. And now we get to Bazaar of Bad Dreams. I definitely thought it was an A tier. I like some short stories, so that's where we're at. And so yeah, that's been all my Stephen King books and movies. So yeah, let me know what you think. And so that's been Freaky Friday with Falafel92.